Garrett Blevins here with week 7, day 3 of my cube Kingpin-RTS split. The name's getting too long. I'm going to have to figure out something else to call it. But this was pretty much what this day is. With the third day, I take the assistance work, the second assistance movement of each of the Kingpin days, and I put those together on the third day. So I've got my pause squats, my 1-inch off the chest bench press. But normally I'd have deficit pulls. Instead, I decided to save my back, which I've been having some issues with, to do some explosive rows, which actually were very effective. So I'll talk about those when I get there. But pause squats, nothing really to mention here other than I'm still real tired from squatting 2 days ago and from that max effort deadlift set last week. So I'm interested to see how squats are going to go next week. I'm going to be going heavy for a single, and so I think I'm going to, instead of doing the last heavy squat of the cycle on week 9, I'm going to push that on to week 8 and have my last heavy bench press on week 9 instead. I recover a little faster from bench press, and so I'll put that closer to the mock meet that I'm going to do. I decided to change up the angle on some of the squats and the benches here from the side. Looking a little bit to see how are my forearms positioned in relation to the bar. Are they perpendicular to the floor? Am I using more triceps? Am I letting my elbows come too far forward and creating some bad leverages there? All in all, these sets felt pretty good as far as 1-inch pauses with, I think this is 345. It was a pretty good day for chest, but I'm definitely still tired. The extra pressing that I've put into the cycle has definitely been difficult, and I'll probably cut some of that out on week 9. Now these are what I'm going to call explosive rows. I'm using a lot of back and legs to get it up there, but my forearms and my traps were absolutely just shredded after this, and so I'm going to keep them in there. I think it's going to have some carryover. There are some lifters who do them and have had good results. Thinking about the temptations of Jesus, as I mentioned in the last video, during this Lenten season, I was thinking about the second temptation of Satan with Jesus, and it was to throw himself down to kind of force God's hand, for Jesus to see how God will deliver him from any of the trials that he goes through. Now, ultimately, the trial Jesus comes to is his crucifixion, and he goes through that trial even to death, but is raised up from the dead out of it. God does deliver him, but he doesn't deliver him from the suffering. He delivers him out of the suffering after it's taken place. And so this temptation is to test God and God's faithfulness to Jesus before the appointed time, to force God's hand. And while it's not 100% carryover, it made me think about testing in programs with weightlifting too early, where you want to see if you're making the gains because you don't trust the programming, and you want to test to see if you're making progress. I've been guilty of that many times, but Jesus here in a different setting, and as I said, it's not always true. Sometimes it's good to go for it in weightlifting, but Jesus in this setting refuses to test God and says, in quotes from Deuteronomy, "You shall not put the Lord your God to the test." He trusts God and doesn't need God to prove himself. Blessings.